Hey, how you doing today? I am Tequila Coleman. In today's video, I'm going to answer one of our standards question. Standard simply means, this is a wife or a husband that is standing for marriage restoration. Now, if you have a question you would like for me to answer on the channel, head over to godordainedmarriages.com. Click on the tab that says Contact Us and send me your question from there. Now, here's her question. She said, I've been standing as the wife for 7 months now for an almost 21-year marriage. In the beginning, about a month after my husband left, I poured out my feelings to him in a letter and a phone call. Everything I have read since then says, don't do that. So I haven't. I haven't told him anything about how I feel for him. I still wear my wedding ring, and the very rare moments my husband is around me, I know he sees me wearing it. He has virtually cut off all communication with me. It has been that way for months. So much to the point as texting my 18-year-old son to ask me a simple question about an upcoming party when my husband could have texted me instead of him. At what point do I tell him something simple like, I miss you? Or do I still keep quiet and wait for my husband's prompting? I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm hearing, listen to God and not man, but at the same time, I don't know if God is telling me or it's the devil because it's the wrong thing to do. I don't want to say too much, just something simple like I miss you. He has not moved forward with any legal proceedings as of yet. I honestly don't know if he is waiting for me to make the first move, which I would never. Can you please guide me and direct me on what I should do? Thank you. Okay, so thank you for your email. Thank you for going to the website and sending me your question. So let me just say, it's never the wrong thing to do when you are expressing to your husband how you feel. It's never the wrong thing to do, okay? Sometimes, pride will get in our way. Sometimes the fear of rejection might even get in our way and stop us from telling the one we love, how we feel. But it's never the wrong thing. Even after you express to your husband, this is how I feel, right? I miss you. I love you. I want you to come back home. Even after you say all of these things to your husband, and let's say he responds in ways that you feel like he's rejecting what you just said. Let me tell you something about the God we serve, because God will use exactly what you just shared with him. Whether you wrote it in a letter or you said it verbally to him, God will use it. And God will be speaking to him in his quiet time. And God will convict his heart, okay? And he will deal with him the way how God knows how to deal with his children, right? And so understand when you're standing for your marriage restoration, you have to allow God to do the leading, okay? So if I'm going to allow God to do the leading, then I need to really know God's voice. And I also need to know the voice of the devil so that I could discern who is speaking to me in this desired moment, right? So that's number one. I need you to press in and learn the voice of God for yourself, okay? And just also know that God would never tell you, don't tell your husband how you feel. No, because that keeps you and your husband from coming together, right? And it opens the door for the enemy to come in and now whisper lies in your husband's ear. The enemy could come in and tell your husband she doesn't love you, she doesn't care for you, she haven't even reached out to you, she don't even miss you, right? When on the other hand, you feeling all the opposite, right? So understand, it's never wrong for you to express how you feel to your husband, okay? That's your husband. You fight for him. You fight for that marriage, okay? Number two, let's talk about these prayer points, okay? Because prayer works, okay? And so as I was reading, your email, some of the prayer points I want you to begin to pray against, okay? Because the enemy is at work in your marriage, okay? So you want to pray against the spirit of resentment, the spirit of holding a grudge. Sometimes when I'm praying against certain spirits like resentment, I also like to just hit on its whole entire grouping. So bitterness, anger, disappointment, holding a grudge, things of that nature, okay? So pray against the spirit of resentment, the spirit of grudge, also the spirit of shame, blame, guilt. And the reason why I'm highlighting these, also rejection, is because he stopped our communication with you and now he's communicating with you through your 18-year-old son. So that tells me he either has a resentment towards you to where he don't really want to face you right now or talk to you over the phone. He's holding a grudge, which will also cause a person to not want to talk to you over the phone. Or shame. Shame causes you to go in hiding, okay? Shame and guilt, right? It will cause you to go in hiding. So go ahead and pray against all these evil spirit, demonic spirits, rebuke it, bind it in the name of Jesus Christ, okay? And also pray against the spirit of rejection, because just like how you want to tell him how you feel, I'm sure he had some moments, some days where he wanted to call you and say, baby, I want to come back home. I want us to make up. I miss you. I love you. I'm sure he had these moments, right? But because of the spirit of fear, okay, that's what causes us to hang the phone up and say, forget it. She's not thinking about me, right? So go ahead and rebuke the enemy off of your marriage, okay? And also pray and ask God to open up communication between you and your husband, okay? Begin to rebuke the enemy, that's interfering and blocking communication between you and your husband, okay? That's number 2. Number 3, let's talk about, because you said, you want to just say something simple like, I miss you. So I want you to go deeper. What specifically do you miss about your husband? What is it? Do you miss how he was, how he took care of the home? Do you miss how, he worked with the kids? What specifically do you miss about your husband? And once you get clear on that, the next time he texts your 18-year-old son to give you a message, I want you to go ahead, take the phone, answer his question, and then put in there, I miss how you used to, just how we used to watch, Netflix or whatever, whatever y'all used to do, right? Or whatever it is you miss about him. I miss how we used to, just sit here and talk, with one another. I miss how you were with the children, tell him that. And that's it. You don't got to go into a whole book. Just tell him that part. I miss X, Y, and Z, okay? And then allow it to build from there, okay? Because you're just throwing it out there like, okay, I miss you. Like, I miss you, honey. That's what you're communicating to him. I miss you, okay? And so now he know, okay, allow God to use that, however way he sees fit, okay? But I know at the end of your email you said, I honestly don't know if he is waiting for me to make the first move, which I would never. Let me tell you something. That mindset got to go out the window, because this is your husband we're talking about here, okay? Let me tell you something. If I got to make the first move to save my marriage, I'm making the first move, okay? Pride got to go out the door, because this is your husband. This is your marriage. You standing for marriage restoration. So if God tells you to make the first move, then that's what it is, right? Now, what I'm not saying is you have to always make the first move. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to keep on pouring your heart out to him and only for him to reject you. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, if you want to just tell him, I miss you, go ahead and do that. And just leave it at that, right? Every opportunity the Lord gives you, to interact with your husband, take advantage of it. So the next time your husband call, and he send a message through your 18-year-old son, I need you to be ready to respond. I need you to be ready to let your husband know, I miss you. Next time he texts, I appreciate you, letting me know, okay? Like, whatever. I'm just throwing some stuff out here, right? Keep doing this and watch how it's going to lower his guard, and it's going to melt that wall he has put up, okay? And now he's going to shift from texting your son to now texting you, okay? And then you just start building from there, because what I'm teaching you here is communicating the language of respect to your husband. One of the reasons why husbands leave the home, are distant from their wives, having this resentment towards their wives, is because they don't feel like their wife respect them as a man, so his respect tank is on E. It's on empty. Think about the car, the gas tank in the car. You have E, half, and full. So your husband gas tank, his respect tank, is heading towards the E mark, okay? Respect to a man is love. When you tell your husband, I love you, he say, okay, and it goes right out the ear, you know. But when you say, I respect you as a man, I appreciate you taking the time, you know, to sit our son down and talk to him about X, Y, and Z. I'm proud of you. I love it when you know, did whatever, right? Now you're communicating his language, okay? And this is what I'm teaching inside our marriage prep boot camp that is starting September the 13th. If you haven't already signed up, I recommend you head over to godordainedmarriages.com/bootcamp and sign up today. But you have to, while, you know, y'all are in your divine separation, begin to learn, okay, how to communicate respect to your husband. Begin to learn your husband's love language. Your husband is your target, okay? This is your target. What I mean by this is my job as the wife to learn everything about my husband, okay? Because my goal is for God to restore this marriage, right? And so I got to partner with God in this process of standing by learning my husband's love language. I got to learn how to communicate with him on his level. I got to learn how to meet him right where he's at. I got to learn how to, you know, move him move him into healing when I'm praying for him, right? I got to learn these things as his wife. And then I also have to begin to work on me and grow as his wife, because I understand when my husband see that I'm growing, I'm healing, I'm developing for the better, he's going to want to, you know, grow with me as well, okay? So these are some of the things you could begin to work on right now. I do recommend you tell him you miss him. Let him know you miss him, girl. Come on now. Let your husband know you miss him, okay? It's nothing wrong with that, you know. And you know, if he doesn't say anything back, it's okay. You're planting seeds, okay? That's how you got to look at it. I'm planting seeds, right? And you know, just keep on planting. Allow God to water it, okay? And you will know when God has watered it, because your husband will begin to respond to the seeds you have planted within him, okay? So I am Tequila Coleman. Make sure you like this video. Leave me a positive comment and subscribe to this channel. I'll talk to you all real soon. Take care.